is to do sentencing. Our real job is to decide who gets custody of children. That's our job. It isn't the job to help somebody get sober so they can get custody of their child. All right? Helping somebody get sober, there should be a national policy about this. Because, we aren't the ones. So what does work? When government can't make it happen and judges can't make it happen, recovery makes it happen. And it really does. It succeeds. And it is a part of treatment. So many times judges say to me, no, that's religion. I say, oh, yes. And it isn't religion. It's a way to live your life by a certain set of rules that were written down long ago and had only to do with alcoholics and now have to do with a whole bunch of people suffering from a whole lot of conditions, and they work. And so why are you giving me this religious nonsense? Well, that's because there's a separation of church and state, and we must make sure that's there. But I said, send them to Smart Recovery. Send them to whatever support. Go to church. Do something. There's more recovery going on in churches now than there ever was in the history of this country. Really, seriously. I see this. More and more recovery in churches. And, when things go wrong, where are you going to go? You want to go to the court again? Wow, it'll only get worse. You got to have a place to go. And that's why AA, NA, churches make the difference as a place you can go for support when things go wrong. And finally, what does recovery do? It does what I often fail at. It builds your self-confidence, the belief in yourself. Okay? And I say this every day to people. And I love my parolees because they're the most difficult people to work with. Because I only work with parolees who have failed everything. Okay? This week, I had a newcomer in my program. We call them newcomers. He just got out of prison after serving 28 years. Okay? And you know what? He's already going to meetings. He's in treatment. He wants to change his life. You see? Why should I get in the way of that? I should be encouraging it, which I was. And that example proves the thing that I believe so strongly in. You must never give up. Believe in yourself because change will come. It may take 28 years. I regret he no doubt, I don't know the history, but 28 years is not given lightly. Something happened in his life that ended him up in that. It's public. We were all there in the courtroom. Everybody knew it. But that isn't the point. The point is he isn't dead, and this is 28 years plus 30 days. He's got the rest of his life, one day at a time, to do something. So in closing, I want to give you my personal belief, and that is this. When you cut through everything else, you gotta have hope in people. And you have to have hope for yourselves. I don't care how long you've been in recovery. If you don't have hope in your heart, if you don't really believe that there is hope for you and others like you who have been or started this journey through addiction, mental illness, cancer, I don't care what it is, you gotta have hope. That's the bottom line. Then you have to understand that we have to have dignity. That people are not losers. That they're not drug addicts. That they're not crazy. Thank God the legislature and the governor have removed some of these horrible words from our statutes. But they aren't like that. We gotta think of what you can do better, not your failures. This is where we go wrong. And I never look, everybody who comes before me wants to tell me why they screwed up, What went wrong? They didn't have their medications. Their mother died. This happened. These are all huge factors in their life. But where are they living when they're standing in front of me? They're living yesterday and the day before and the month before. They're not living today. And that's all we got. That's what ANNA says. All we have is today, right? So I say, look, stop telling me about that. I can't change it. You can't change it. You did what you did. You got here. We have hope that you can do better today. I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. You make it through today and we'll get there. All right, so what has inspired me, or who? Let me talk about this guy. John Newton. You all know him, right? He's the one who discovered something, right? No, this is another John Newton. He was, this is the time of the Civil War, okay? Different views on race. He was the captain of a slave ship. He brought slaves from Africa and sold them, okay? And in addition to that, he was a drunk. He was probably one of the first famous alcoholics in this country to get a lot of notoriety. Not only was he drunk, he was vicious. He would throw slaves over the side of the ship, torture, do whatever he could to show how cruel a person he could be. Driven, I'm sure, in large part by mental illness, which we didn't know how to diagnose then, and most certainly by constant use of alcohol. One day, for reasons no one knows, and you can read in history and you'll find nobody has the faintest idea how this happened, he changed. Miraculous change? I don't think so. Something happened where he saw that this was not working. He changed his entire life. And do you know what he became? A minister. A minister of all things, huh? Here's this guy. You want to say night and day, good heavens, this gets big. This cruel, vicious person becomes a minister. And who does he work with? Alcoholics. The homeless, the lost, the slaves who are now in the United States. All right? And guess what else happens after he becomes sober and changes his life and becomes a minister? He starts writing poetry and some music. And so he writes one poem, and there's only one poem of all he wrote, that we know to this day, okay? And I bet there isn't a person in this room who doesn't know it and know this song, because it became a song. We sing it, but we never really think about who wrote it and where it came from and what drove these words. Huh? Amazing Grace. He wrote the words. And if you read the words of that song in their entirety, I think you will get the same message I did. The message of recovery. The message of hope. The message of doing things differently and getting a better result. I have run to my time. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening in this hot room. this room is hot. You should come to my courtroom.
I have a dream, and my dream was to be a tennis player. When I was a little kid in the orphanage, I went to the tennis court, and they told me, "You're too little, get out of here." So I didn't start playing tennis until I got to the program. And I play today, and I'm not very good, but I play. See, I participate. I have a coach, you know, I gotta pay the coach, you know, but she's my coach, you know. I am teachable. When I first started playing tennis, they used to call me Helicopter. You know why they called me Helicopter? The racket used to go like this. You know, and, you know, because I had this desire, I wanted to be the best. You know, I finally don't want to be the best. I just want to be one of. One of. And you know, it's great. It's like when George taught me how to hug, I used to go to meetings in Sunnyvale at noon, and I'd always give people a hug. And I remember there's a guy, he's in Houston now, Jerry Brown. I wouldn't let him out of the room until I could hug him. And I did that. And I learned how to, you know what a hug is? A hug is giving of yourself to another human being. It's what a hug is. Let me give you something. Don't let me take anything from you. You know, if I can't do anything else in the course of this day, I hope that I've given somebody else some peace and some hope and some joy. And I want to thank you very much for allowing me to be here. Thank you. Oh.